So how's it
I
going,
was,
guys?
Everything's
It's good.
good.
Doing
Good,
really
good to
good.
see you. So, okay, so the surfing thing. So where are you living?
We live in
Are you
Manhattan
by the
Beach.
beach?
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
Venice?
Manhattan Beach.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And
What?
so do you surf like breakwater and places like that?
No, El Porto.
Yeah. Yeah, I
El
spent
Porto's
many,
our
many an
home
hour
break.
at El Porto.
That's our home break.
hmm I've
Do you ever come
had,
down and surf anymore?
well, typically, so I live in Thousand Oaks, so I'm over the hill from Malibu. And so typically I'm out at First Point with
Okay.
my daughter and my son. 13 and 14. And I've got some friends who are professional surfers and they go out there and I pay them to kind of make sure the kids don't drown and, kind of teach them, you know, teach them how to do their thing. And I actually consider it kind of like, money spent. So I get to surf versus just push them into waves. Um,
Totally.
Yeah.
but they've now kind of gotten to the point where they can paddle themselves into the waves.
Mhm.
But it's so crowded there. Porto you can spread out, right?
Yeah.
It's a beach break, but Malibu Point, there's like 4 people on every wave.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Totally. Nico
that's
Nico
awesome.
wants to share.
I gotta show
Nico
you a
wants to share
picture.
something with you.
Let me see. No shit. When was that? That's the goat
Yeah.
and his
So yeah,
girlfriend. The goat and his girlfriend. What that
the
looks like?
goat
It's
and
up
his
in
girlfriend.
Fillmore, or not
That's
Fillmore, Lemoore.
Yeah.
Lamar. Yeah.
Yeah. That was at the
When'd
surf
you go up
ranch.
there?
Like,
So one of my really good friends I surf with out here in Porto is Eric Logan, and he used to
Oh,
be the CEO of the World Surf League.
okay.
So when he became CEO during the pandemic, they started testing for that show, Ultimate Surfer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of his shows. But we got to go to the ranch and start, like doing all the protocols to see if we can do it during COVID. And then ever
Wow.
since then, he was CEO for about what 3 years,
I don't yeah, something
like two
around
years.
there.
So I've been to the ranch like 7 times.
Whoa.
And one of the days, Kelly came down and I was talking to his girl, Kalani, and we were talking hair. And she's like, "Oh, well, I have a texture hairline." And I was like, "Let me do your hair." So I cut her hair. And then Kelly came out after training and they were going to do some kind of promo thing for the ranch. So no one's cut his hair like 13 years, like 12,
Right.
13 years. And he let me shave
Because
his
he's
head, dude.
bald-ish.
Dude, he let me shave his head, dude. That's it.
That's
I got a
so
picture of schooling the
badass.
goat. That was badass,
That's,
dude. Yeah.
that is so
So
badass.
sick, dude.
So did they let
Yeah.
you surf?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I've surfed it, what, 7 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, that's
We've been a
so
few times.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
love
man,
that.
I got
So,
sick pictures, bro. Yeah.
oh, that's so amazing. So we've got some overlapping networks here. Paul Speaker, who kind of created he took the ASP, turned it into the WSL,
Mm.
and very close to Kelly and all those guys. And then ended up buying the surf ranch for the WSL, and then he kind of retired from there. And I think your friend is the one who took over as CEO. I've
Yes.
never met him before, but um, I've not been there. I haven't been able. I've been invited a couple times, haven't been able to make it. But it's like
Oh, what?
it.
You have
No,
to
I
drop your
know, I
shit and
know.
go, dude.
Well, it's just like, my life it's dedicated to Salon Republic, really, first and foremost. So, and, I
Mm.
have to give up certain things, but,
I
um,
know.
I'll make it there. I've got friends who've been there and I see all their videos and I'm just like, fuck you. You know what?
I know.
It's too good. It's too
It
good.
is. Now he's gonna go on a
Yeah,
whole
look at what he gave me.
Did he
I
sign it?
know.
That's
So
so
sick, dude.
awesome. So
I
I
mean,
only met him
who gets
once.
to cut Kelly's hair? Yeah,
No, I know.
crazy.
I love it because the first thing you think of when you see Kelly Slater is not necessarily who cuts his hair. But of course it's gonna grow something somewhere, maybe on the sides, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
it was kind of like one of those things, I'm walking up, there's like a big platform, and I'm walking up, I'm like, what is happening? And it was such a joke, right? Because he is bald, and
Yeah.
Nico is just in heaven. I'm going, oh my god, oh my god, I
well, I just
cannot.
got done cutting Kalani's hair. We were
Yeah,
just talking the whole
Okay.
time while
Yeah.
everybody's surfing,
And she's
and
got
then
a
he
lot of
walked
hair.
out.
yeah,
Yeah, he walks out and she's like, "Babe, we're about to do this photo shoot. Why don't you sit down? Let Nico cut your hair." And because he had like a little 5 o'clock shadow. So I was
Okay.
actually teaching him how to properly cut your hair off so that you
It was Nico's highlight of his
dude,
whole career.
I was
Oh,
schooling the
100%.
goat, dude. How do you
Oh my
school the
God.
goat?
Oh,
It's
the goat
crazy.
doesn't know everything. The goat
Right.
doesn't know
That's what that
yeah, that's
it
amazing. I
was
love
epic,
that
dude.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna introduce you guys. You guys have a lot to introduce because you both
Yeah.
have done so many things. Um, you're a married couple. You're both
Thank
celebrity
you, buddy.
hairdressers and studio owners at Salon Republic Beverly Hills. They're kissing now on the podcast. That
Yeah.
might be the first ever kiss in 8 years on the Hair Game podcast. Right there.
Give it a minute. We're very affectionate.
Yeah.
Into that, we're going to get into why it works. 40 years combined industry experience between the two of you. Neeko, you're known for your multi-texture hair expertise and your short hair game. You've owned 5 salons. Boy, there's a lot of stories in there, I bet.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
currently see guests in your private studio at Salon Republic in Beverly Hills. Tanya, you're a renowned hairdresser and colorist who collaborates with top designers and creates runway hairstyles. You've been on the cover of magazines, all the good ones, you know, the Vogues, the L's, the Peoples, the everything. Back to Neeko. Neeko, you're an edge. I'm reading your intro because I started writing mine and I was like, I can't get better than what you guys have already done. Neeko, you're an edgy or unorthodox 4-time NAHA award winner for editorial select category, 3 daytime Emmy nominee, 2024 daytime Emmy winner for outstanding hairstylist on television. You created Halle Berry's iconic short haircut. I mean, everybody knows that. That's just
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, that's probably better than cutting Kelly Slater's hair, right?
I don't know, man. Now that I surf,
Don't say that.
no, I'm just saying.
It's it's
It's
tricky.
you know
It's a
what?
tough one.
I have a saying, it's never better, it's just different.
Okay. Incomparable. It's definitely incomparable. Jada Pinkett Smith is one of your clients. Charlize Theron, you know, all amazing short haircuts. You created the looks for Natalie Emmanuel in Game of Thrones. Which one was she?
She was a Khaleesi's advisor.
Okay. Big
Yeah.
hair?
Big hair, exactly.
Fro.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Fast and Furious films, music videos, Missy Elliott, Pink, Little Kim, Jennifer Hudson, Mary J. Blige, key hairstylist for America's Next Top Model for 7 seasons with Tyra Banks. And you've directed hair teams in New York, LA, London, Italy, India Fashion Week. Interesting. For 15 seasons. Okay, so now to Tanya. You create stunning looks for celebrities. You're a local 706 hairdresser. For those who don't know, that's the local union in California who works on entertainment sets, etc. Your work has been seen on Sandra Bullock in Bird Box, Ocean's 8, Christina Aguilera on The Voice, Kate Hudson and Little White Lie, Truth to Be Told, Selma Hayek, Gwyneth Paltrow, Renee Zellweger, Jada Pinkett Smith. You've been on hair teams for Fashion Week for 3 seasons. You've owned 3 salons. Different salons or the same ones?
Different.
Oh
Well,
my
I mean, it's
God.
always been bars, but
Yeah.
different locations. Let's say that.
Oh my God. You
All
guys
running
are
at the
just
same
gluttons
time.
for punishment, aren't you?
Literally,
It's
literally.
punishment.
um, so that's enough. I think the listeners have a good idea of who you are. You've been married for how long? 20 years?
We actually just figured this out Sunday. Married for 17, together for 20.
For 20.
Yeah.
Mm.
We just had our 17th wedding anniversary this month on
Yeah.
the 13th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So
Thank you.
you work together. Now, when you work in the studio together, maybe
Mhm.
not on all the sets together, but you do spend a lot of time together working, right? Not just at home.
I mean, it's 24/7 pretty much.
Like 24/7. I
Okay.
mean, we travel, we
So,
speak at all these, it's kind of crazy how we drive together, but we only work in the studio 3 days a week. So it's workable. And then, sometimes when she does her shows, she'll disappear for like 4 months. So It actually works.
It's a vacation for me.
Yeah.
You disappeared during the day for 4 months.
Yes.
Well, because 'cause I'm on
Yeah,
set. Yeah.
yeah. But you're not going to New York for 4 months.
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Yeah.
She's done that
I
before.
have,
Yeah.
but no.
But that's your vacation from Nico.
That's right.
That's what keeps you sane.
His
I mean,
work.
yeah, it's like when the opportunities come, I'm like, okay." You
But
know?
that's why I'm an addict and I have to surf every morning.
Yeah.
Are you
Same.
surfing every morning?
Every single morning.
But we live right down the street from the beach, and yeah, I mean, long story short, it was, like, part of Nico's rehab, like, 10 years ago, it
Mhm.
was, like, part of his rehabilitation, and it, like, really saved his
Saved my
life.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you get professional help or do you mend on your own?
No, it was all of it. Like I do work. My thing is doing work on my mind, body, and soul. So, it wasn't just going to church. It was like sitting in 8-hour saunas. It was like
You went to
therapy,
rehab, yeah. He did
rehab.
go to rehab.
So it was mental rehab,
Yeah,
it was all of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
NA, it was all of that. You know what I mean? So I believe in all of it.
Mhm.
Ayahuasca, bring it. Get
Yeah.
saved, like
Get saved
get
Yeah.
saved,
over and over again, however many
go
times it takes,
psychedelic and sweat it out. You know what I mean? And then
and
Yeah.
paddle in, catch a wave, and it's like, here we go. Let's
yeah.
go. So I'll
That's
take it
so
all.
so what
Yeah.
is the psychology behind that? Like, what is it about surfing? I think I have an idea, but I want the listeners to get an idea. What is it about surfing, every morning that maybe fills that need? Is it that habitual getting up early and getting out there in the cold water? What is it?
Well, we do a lot of training. So routine is one of the things that make life workable. You know what I mean? And every morning, because I'm so active, there's something about, putting your feet in the sand. It's like grounding,
Oh,
putting the
yeah.
wetsuit on and waxing your board. It's the equipment. It's paddling in so that all those waves that are smashing on your face, the cold water, it's all of it. And then you get into the lineup, sitting, waiting. There's a patience thing to it. And then when you turn and then get in the wave, there's such a reward in the flow. You know what I mean? And then at the end, you just come out and you're just claim. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's like
Mhm.
there's nothing more rehabilitative in that package that I've ever experienced. I can apply all of it from NA to praying, to meditating, to, therapeutic. It's all of that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
All in
Mhm.
one experience every single morning.
Yeah. Amen. I mean that's it's just so good. There's something that when people want to talk about surfing, that I often say that you've got to put your phone in your car. You got to keep your phone in your car. You paddle out and there's a decent amount of you say patience 100%. You're
Oh, for
sitting there
sure.
waiting for a wave to somewhat randomly come your way and you're doing a lot of thinking. You're out there usually by
Yeah,
yourself. Of course,
just
maybe
reflecting. Yeah.
yeah, just thinking, reflecting, very very meditative. And then here comes a wave and you have to find it and do it. And it's
Well,
that I think your description is fantastic. So
and then
El Porto,
there's definitely in El Porto fear.
well, I was about to describe it, but go ahead.
So it's like Pound Town,
Yeah.
but again, like you see these giant walls, it's gnarly takeoffs, but again, when you've actually repetitively faced that failure and then finally the triumph, I'm telling you, and then you get strategic about learning the game. It's like positioning. And then when you get right on that corner, and then literally Porto get like we have barrels, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And you get into that little barrel and you're just getting covered, even though you may not make it out.
Yeah.
It's like there's something about it that like 99% of the planet will never get to experience.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think Billabong, a surf brand, has a saying something like, Um, only a surfer knows the feeling. And, you know,
Mm,
it comes from that because it's such a unique experience. It's really unlike anything else. It's not like snowboarding. You know, a lot of people
yeah.
say it's like snowboarding. It's not like skateboarding. It's very different. And you're challenging yourself every day. So for the listeners who don't know, El Porto is in Manhattan Beach,
Manhattan Beach.
California, you know, kind of south of LAX airport in LA, and it's a beach break, and there's a kind of a deep water channel that allows the you know, the swell energy in the ocean to come and jack up right there on the beach, and it gets super heavy, like Neeko said. And before we started recording, I was going to tell you guys that I used to live down there. I lived in Hermosa. I lived in Redondo. I had lots of friends in El Porto area in my 20s. So we would spend a lot of time at El Porto. I remember many, many times I couldn't even paddle out. It was so
Yeah.
heavy, and the frequency of the waves was such that I'd just get my ass kicked, and
Yeah.
we couldn't actually paddle out. That's how heavy it can get there. So what you're doing going there every morning is you're challenging yourself every single morning. There's going to be
Always
days that are a
changing.
little smaller. There's going to be days that are a little bit bigger. But every morning is a challenge because the water's cold and it's early morning. And sometimes, you know, the air is cold and all that. And so to do it and you get out of the water and you feel accomplished and it's only like 8:30 in the morning, you already feel
Right.
like you've accomplished something huge for the day,
Yeah.
right?
It's huge, man. All you really need is two waves. The one that you can catch intentionally, and then the one everybody sees you on. You know, it's a wrap after that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Get to the beach, everybody's like, "Oh, I saw you on that left," and you're like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna start my day like already like acknowledged, and you're
Yeah.
amazing, and thank you." You know what I mean?
I
I
love
love
it.
it,
I
dude.
love it.
Yeah,
All right. One more thing I'll ask about surfing, then we'll move on. Is so El Porto. I mean, I could have a surfing podcast if I wanted, but
I know.
so El Porto is the kind of a break where you when it's good, you know, you drop into the wave, you're going 100 miles an hour, you
100
look
miles
down
per
the
hour.
line and the thing is just jacking up down the line, and you have to decide, am I going to pull into this and try to get
Yeah,
barreled, or am I going to straighten out and play it safe, right?
yeah.
Mm.
So how do you think of it?
I'm a barrel boy, so since I did all that training at the surf ranch, I always tuck in,
Yeah.
and usually, what I've been trained is all you gotta do is stand up out of the back and it breaks the wave, you know what I mean? But I try to go as far as I can
Eric,
and
let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Twice, 2 years in a row, we're spending $50,000 on replacing his teeth. 2 times in a row.
Hitting the sandbar.
That's so you
it's
ask,
not
what
yeah.
does he do? He takes it. And,
I'm
yeah,
getting that impression.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
going left,
So,
yeah,
hand in the wave, the
yeah,
board comes upside down, hits you in the chin, breaks
yeah,
out all top row of your teeth.
yeah.
Pushes it right into your gums. I mean, we've
Okay,
been working on it for the last 2 years that my whole grill is like rebuilt.
okay. So
Implants
so
all the way across the top.
so you
No risk,
basically,
no reward, baby. No
yeah.
risk, no
Well, that's it.
reward.
It's the
Yeah.
ultimate risk and reward. It's the
Yeah.
ultimate. As
Totally.
you pull in and you're doing your bottom turn and you look up,
And then you're
you
just like,
have maybe 1 millisecond to decide
yeah,
whether you're going to pull in and try to get barreled. And if you pull in and try to get barreled, you know, you could get your ass kicked like you just described, or you could get the wave of your life,
of your
or
life.
of your life. One of the best, you know, wave of your life doesn't explain it. It's really one of the moments of your life. It really is.
Yeah.
It's really a magical spirit. Or you wuss out and you go straight. And it sounds like you
Yeah.
basically pull in every time.
I pull
And I
in.
love that.
Yeah.
So
Because you
so
know
maybe
what? Like, there's something about that. You're in there and you're just like, what?
yeah,
No one sees this, dude.
nobody.
No
No.
one. And
No.
it's like
It's
it go, all the violence, all the activity that you get, and then when you get into that barrel, there's something about what goes silent, and then
well, it
you're
echoes.
totally Yeah, you're totally in your body and you're just like, "Oh my god, this is where it is." And then all of a sudden it just goes kaboom! Explosion, like, "Clam!"
Yeah,
And then you come out, sand coming out of your mouth, and you're just
yeah,
like board broken, and you're just
God.
like,
yeah.
"Thank you, Jesus."
That's right. And then everybody in the lineup's looking to see if you're still alive, and you
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
claim it, and everyone's
yeah,
like,
you just
"Yeah."
claim it. Sandy,
Yeah.
everything. So cool.
Okay, so next time you do that and you're falling, cover your head so you
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't get your teeth smashed out
yeah.
again.
I do that now. Go like
We
this.
Okay.
wear mouth guards now.
Yeah, good. All
Yeah.
right. That's pretty awesome. I
Look at
don't
we're
think we've
we're exhilarated.
yeah, I know. This is
You guys
amazing.
just went on.
And then all the listeners who like don't care at all about surfing, they're like, "All right, next."
All right.
Yeah.
They're like, "Fast
Yeah.
forward, fast forward." Okay.
We literally went to another planet
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing. Okay, so okay,
We grew.
I have all these tangents to go on, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
wrestle us back into the meat
Yeah.
of the conversation here. All right. So you guys, husband and wife, you work together all the time in your studio or on set or whatever. How do you make it work? I mean, obviously, just sitting here watching you, you have a great relationship. You obviously are very affectionate with each other. You love each other very much. And Neeko occasionally like looks for the listeners who are not watching. Neeko looks over and, tries to kiss Tanya. It's like, and that's kind of what I do with my wife too. So
Yeah.
you have a great relationship, but how do you maintain that through all these years of working right next to each other?
I mean, I think that it really starts with the fact that Nico and I really do have the same ethics and morals in place, and we both value family the same. And so, even when like there was a period where my career really started to take off and I wanted it. I was like, dude, this is what I've worked hard for. And at the time, our daughter, his daughter from his first marriage was maybe like 10, I met her when she was 8. And so I was, we were married at that point, and he really was like, "You really gotta think about what you want because it's not like you can really have both." And me, in my mind's eye, I was only like 30 at that point. I was like, "No, I can have it all. I'm gonna do it all." And he was like, "Okay." And we had these like really serious conversations about him saying, "I'm willing to like lose you to let you be who you wanna be." Because I'm 11 years younger than Nico. And so that sort of like literally walking to the edge and having those conversations of like this might not work if we do this, but I'm going to trust it, like really opened up the space for us to even deepen our trust. And I think that that's one of the biggest things. Like I've never said no to him and he's never said no to me. We may have like serious conflict and have to like battle it out to like surrender and we both really don't have control over each other, and we're really, really clear about that.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I've never, it's interesting, and I'll say this as simply as I can. I've really honored being a woman and the strength and the supportive role that I know that I hold. And I really honor my husband and him being having the strength and the patience that he has, right? So
Hmm.
there's always been a dance of who's showing up in their space. There's been times where I've had to really take the lead and there's been times where he's really had to take the lead, but we've never ran over each other. I've never belittled him. I don't talk down to him. We don't curse at each other. We don't like we get our voices get loud, you know what I mean? But it definitely there's this really intense respect that Nico and I have for each other that I really do seen other relationships tend to not necessarily value because they're like, "Oh,
Right.
you'll get over it." But it's not true. Nico really drilled in early in our relationships. He's like, "It's not the oopses, it's the oh wells." And I really took that seriously because I mean I fell in love with Nico the second I met him. So I knew it wasn't like, "Oh, this guy's hot." I
I
I
like that. It
he
wasn't because he was
he
hot.
was like, "No."
Yeah.
I didn't even know who Nico was or anything about him. He walked in the door, I looked at my friend and I said, "I'm gonna marry that guy." Like, words out of my
Shut
mouth.
up. Seriously.
Yeah,
First sight.
yeah. First sight, he opened the door and I broke out into a full cold sweat. There was just he walked in and I was just like it was like it's something just smacked me in the face. I don't know how to
It's
explain it.
awesome.
I really don't. I really don't. I even remember, like, how he leaned through the door. I remember it so clearly.
How did I
Wow.
lean through the door?
Well, because he was going to New York that night to shoot a music video with Missy Elliott, and he had his
Okay.
whole kit with him, like a huge kit with him. And it
Okay.
was, so I was 23 and was on this trajectory of doing, editorial and fashion, and that's what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I met a guy that really took me under his wing who, like, did a ton of fashion week, did a ton of editorial education, like, really wonderful hairdresser.
His name is Matt Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, he would have these, what would he call them? Something jams? What were they called?
Hair jams.
Hair
Hair
jams.
jam.
And, there were no women, there were no girls, it was not like that, and so this was over 20 almost 23, 20 something years ago, like, about 20 years ago, yeah. Anyways, I was really kind of into it, and I had asked him if I can come to one of his hair jams. I just knew he had them, and he's like, "Yeah, come. We're testing for Fashion Week." He's like, "And if you want to bring a model, bring somebody, and you could do your hair." I'm like, "Great!" So I bring my model, and I'm all ready. And Nico was part of the team. It was 13
Why you look at
guys.
me like that?
There was 13 men and
Well,
myself.
12 of us. We all had salons. We were all fashion week. We were all
Yeah,
directors of like different companies.
yeah,
And we would get together before fashion week and models would come. We'd have a couple designers like tell us
mhm,
influences, what the season looked like. And she came with Matt Adams, he
Uh-huh.
told her, you can come. She brought a model and go ahead.
yeah. So that was the setting, and I was already there ready. And Nico walked in with his kit, and I was like, who's that?" And Matt looks at me and he said, "No, Tanya, you're spoken for." And I said, "Not anymore. I'm gonna marry that guy."
Whoa, that's amazing.
But, I left that night after meeting Nico and didn't see him for 3 months.
Oh,
So there was, like, the preparation for the show, and then I didn't see him again until the first day of Fashion Week. And, I was low key, like, hoping to see him. Oh, and I got on the team, by the way.
okay,
So,
nice.
She got
not
on our team.
that team,
Yeah.
ironically, but I got on another guy's team. What was his name?
Carlos.
Carlos Ortiz. And, he let me come and assist on his team, and just by happenstance, Nico was there, and I kinda, like, just lost it. Like, I saw him pull up in his car, he got out, and the same reaction, full physical thing. I was like, "Oh my
Shut
god, what's
up.
happening?" And by the end of the week of Fashion Week, nothing happened between Nico and I, nothing happened, but by the end of that week, I went to my, at the time, fiancé, and I took off my ring and I just said, "I can't do this," and I left,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
yeah, and even after that, Nico, I wouldn't give him my number or anything because I was like, "I'm not trying to get into something a mess." Like, I was very clear where I was,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, she's putting the hypnotic thing
Yeah.
on me. And
Sure, of
it's
course.
funny because that after we did fashion week, we went to a party, it was like we were all into each other, hanging out, we were making out, everything. And then I asked her for her number and she's like, "No,
no.
can't have it." And I'm like, "What do you
I
mean?"
love it.
So then it just made me turn my whole focus on finding out who this person
Yeah,
was.
but and
It's
so
a hunt.
the funny thing is that, his mom, maybe 2 years ago, Nico has always told the story that I came after him so hard, and it was like this whole thing,
Of course.
which is not true. Um, and that, I was just kinda like, "Oh, yeah, I noticed you and whatever, whatever." His mom said about 2 years ago, she's like, "When he met you, he came home and he said, 'Mom, I met my wife.'" And he made it seem like I was, like, not that impressive.
Right.
So,
Oh, you
and I looked at him, I was like, "After all that, you couldn't even give me a little,"
I did, look at you.
He hit
We're
his
married,
cards all
look.
those years.
We're married
Yeah,
and still
it
married.
He let me
worked.
tell the story the way I did because he liked his little, love at first sight version.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
amazing. The
yeah,
dance, the
It
yeah,
the
was a dance
courtship
for sure.
dance.
yeah. Yeah, and don't
Wow.
get it twisted, I don't like to make it seem like Nico and I are all that, like, perfect. I mean, we've walked the line of, like, separating a couple of times, you know what I mean? So, we've definitely touched the fire, but it's never been for, mm, you know, reasons outside of our marriage, it's always been what's been going on in our
But
marriage.
but I'll tell you what has really worked for us because we work together. We were trained. You know what I mean? Like we both worked in salons.
Professionally, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We both worked in salons where we went through assisting programs. And in the assisting programs, you got your ass handed to you.
yeah,
You had to be in check, you had to be attentive. And the funny thing is, her being where she was and when I came up and assisted in my program, when we come together in the salon,
mhm.
it's
It's
like
so
we're not even
professional.
married.
Yeah,
We're
Mm,
so professional and it's about the client and
mhm,
everything disappears. Social media, like literally, that's how we were trained. The client sitting in your chair is the person you are to worship and fix and pay
yeah,
attention to and conversate and bring your whole world to them while they're in the
mhm,
chair.
yeah,
You know
mhm,
what I mean? And that's how we were trained. So in the work environment, that's how we roll,
mhm,
backstage, whether it be a campaign or fashion week, whatever, it's just
mhm,
that season we were a little unprofessional, kissing in the
mhm.
background and stuff like that.
So,
So
what is Nico's love language, Tanya?
Ah, presents, gifts, toys, things.
Mhm.
surfboards.
Ah,
Surfboards. I think
oh,
probably
and
also
words of
touch.
affirmation. Words of affirmation,
Okay.
even more than touch. Nico
Mhm,
really, really values being, acknowledged. "Don't leave me out." He cannot
mhm.
stand to be left out. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
Mm.
and you
Yeah,
know that very well, obviously. And
yeah,
Nico, what is Tanya's love language?
She just wants help. She wants, like I buy her gifts coming out of her face and she doesn't
yeah,
respond to them like when I say, "Oh my god, you did this." And hey, do you need some help? And and just acknowledging like seeing her. It's like Avatar. I see you.
mhm,
I can do that and I can save money and buy more surfboards.
yeah,
Right.
literally.
Score. All right. So you guys, you have so much experience. The main question I want to ask you both for the young hairdressers out there, those who are maybe in school or maybe, 1 or 2 years out of school, what's your key advice? And I'll kind of set the context that you've had multiple salons, you've worked in multiple parts of the industry, you've worked with a lot of big names, both shoulder to shoulder as well as big names in your chair, and you're still very successful, you're doing it together. So what's your best advice for the young hairdressers?
Because Nico and I value education so much, and aside of education, we value community even more because even through your community, there's like the education there. Nico and I really, really, really feel like it's crucial and essential for hairdressers just starting to actually work in salons,
Mhm,
or with multiple people because Nico and I teach a lot at cosmetology schools. We teach a lot of classes, and I mean, we go through the whole gamut of like, what do you guys want to do? Where do you want to end up? Where do you see yourself? And they're like, I want to open my own salon. I want to go into my own studio right away. And
mhm,
I personally feel like it takes away from your experience from
mhm,
customer service to playing nice with other people, learning on another level, your ability to have like, excellence and professionalism in your business. So for me, that is my biggest piece of advice. If you are just starting out, like you have to see what's out there. And
Yeah.
it's like there's nothing more special than being in a salon. And I get the hairiness of it, but I also feel like where we are now in our industry, I think that a lot of salon owners have really kind of figured it out. Like those of us that are in our late 40s and 50s and 60s, like we're like, oh, as far as like leadership in salons, like we get what kind of went wrong when it came to the dynamics of having salon culture in,
mhm.
the cattiness and the egos and like all the madness. I
It's
mean,
just the fuckery of it all. You know what I
but
mean?
Yep.
but I will say though that that kind of experience, you're not gonna really get, if you try and do something on your own
Yeah.
Right.
right
Right
away.
out of school. Yep.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So yeah, I mean, like what we realize is, like the checks and balance of being in a village, finding out what you love, finding out, there's a lot of grace when you're working with a team in a collective. And what happens is, like you're my nephew, he's just got out of beauty school like maybe a year and a half ago. And he was all into color because that's what he thought he was into. And then when he got out, now he got known for his insane like haircuts. And he would have never known that because the culture in his beauty school was teaching him only color, and
Hmm.
everybody was doing all these different, My Little Pony colors and all this stuff. And it was really creative, especially when you're in school and no accountability. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But like when you get out of school, it's like you have to start figuring out on a professional level where your strengths are. And I used to do jujitsu for like 12, 13 years. And one of the things we trained in was you have these fighting, you have to find your grip. You know what I mean? Because then that's your foundation to start working around.
Yeah.
So I keep telling, like, especially because we teach in all over the country at all the Paul Mitchell schools, you
Hmm.
have to find your grip because that's what's going to give you confidence. That's what's going to give you the interest to keep going, because now you're going to master this one thing that everybody starts, surrounding yourself. Clients start coming to you, you start getting paid, and there's something that actually fulfills you that you're actually contributing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So in jujitsu, once I post down that one thing that I can get a hold of, then I start fighting around it and testing techniques. Then it goes into something else, goes to something else. Like we're able to do everything, but we choose to kind of specialize because, like she cuts like amazing, but she does a lot of color also. You know what I mean? But what we really specialize in is working with textured hair. So, we figured out that we both contribute, and the commonality that we have between ourselves is textured hair clients. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Whether we're doing it straight or we're doing it curly, her color, my cuts, like, going short. We just have a dynamic that we pull off that's so amazing that we just it's a dance. And like sometimes you see these like flamenco dancers with their partners and they're throwing them all over the place. And you're like, whoa, how did they learn that shit? But it's so dynamic. That's
Yeah.
how we roll in the salon. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
it's such a good like thing that we do.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have known how to do that had we not had the experience that we had with other hairdressers.
And
Sure.
working around them, seeing
Yeah.
like being in a specialized salon, like figuring out what our strength is, how we can easily want to get clients,
Yeah.
staying in
Yeah.
that dumbfounded mindset of like, oh, I keep doing what everybody else is doing, but it's not my strength. Like you don't fall in love with hair, and now we're where we are in our industry now, especially with the studios. It's like it's very specialized, but you're doing all day long what you are totally in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, it
Hmm.
goes into like start in community and then
Hmm.
figure out your how much you can spread that and then find your specialty. Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
can I ask you a question, Eric?
Please. Yeah.
I remember a million years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, but
A million years.
yeah, did you go to
I'm pretty old.
Orbe's? I know we're all kind
I'm
of
sorry.
retiring.
Say again.
Did you go to Orbe's show in Miami a million years ago and speak at one of the conventions when you first started the
I've been
studio?
to no. I've been to some of the LBP's
Yeah,
shows in downtown. So
in
LBP,
LA.
for the listeners, owned Oribe. They sold it to Henkel, but they now own
Oh,
R and Co. And so I knew that I've known those guys for a while. I've been to some of their shows, but in LA, not in Miami. I've been to
Yep.
Premiere in Orlando,
Yeah.
mm.
and
Yeah.
I've spoken at some things there. But
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
an Orbe show in
I
Miami.
remember, and it's been so long. I remember hearing you speak and you were talking about, your studios. And I just remember, like, wow, what was that like for you to come up with that? Was that a solo concept, or did you have other people that kind of you guys all brainstormed together about it?
Good
Because you're a
question.
salon owner.
So the concept of the private studios came from a barber who's now about 85 years old. Guy named Keith Clark in Texas. He owned barber shops and he struggled to maintain he struggled to make everybody happy all the time.
Yeah.
So he ended up putting, and we're going back into the mid 80s now, 1980s,
Yeah.
the 1980s for
Wow.
listeners. That was
Yeah.
the last century. And he had these barbershops and he found himself just trying to resolve conflict between all the beauty professionals. And so he started giving everybody their own space. And at first it was like he would put curtains in between the stations. And then he would put um, little half-high pony walls in between the stations, and he
Mhm.
realized that it was solving his problem. So he's like, well, what if
Amazing.
I just give everybody their own space in the same environment so they can talk to each other when they want, but when they don't want, they can have that time and create their own environment. And so that's what he
Yeah.
did. The first location was in Amarillo, Texas, and it was enormous. It was 30,000 square feet. It was a
Mm.
vacated grocery store. And he built studios in there and it was successful. And he thought, wow, this works. I'm going to move to the big city of Dallas. So he did that. And then I think he put up 3 locations. And I met him then. My girlfriend at the time, I had just graduated from college. My girlfriend at the time, her hairdresser moved to one of his salons and she got home. I was looking at the salon industry as something that I was going to do. And she told me about it. And it was 5 minutes from my parents' house. I was living with my parents at the time. Went down there and I met him. And he became my mentor. And I worked for him for free for about a year.
Mhm.
And I thought, I mean, it made sense to me from the very beginning.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I broke up with a girlfriend and moved back out to LA and put up the first location. And we opened it December 1st of 2000 in Studio City.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it's so wild, and it's so funny to even think that it started with a curtain and then a pony wall, and I'm listening to my thoughts going, "That is how fascinating human nature is to me,
Yeah.
that you literally need a fucking pony wall to make you feel like you have autonomy in some way." I'm just like,
Yeah.
"How does that change
It's
anything?"
Right.
crazy.
You know? Because it's
Yeah.
so
Well,
funny.
visual control, right? So
Yeah.
no longer is the person next to you looking at you, or no longer are you as visually bothered by the whatever it's series of clients and next to you and distracted and whatever. And so you start getting some visual control, and then you get you know audio control once and then you have more control over your environment. And
Which actually kinda makes sense when you say it like that, Eric, because it's like, as artists, we're so overstimulated, and that can become really overwhelming, and if people aren't, like, keenly aware of how they function, then they just start
yeah,
to blame everything on how their nervous system is firing off.
Mm.
So that's really
yeah.
interesting being
I mean,
put
just
that
the
way.
sound of blow dryers, right? I
That's right.
mean, you know, so
Totally.
like I'm losing my hearing in my right ear for some reason. I think it's genetic. It happened to my brother, although he's a musician, plays music very loud, happened to my cousin, etc. And when you start losing your hearing, you get more sensitive to loud noises because
Yeah.
your ear's ability to regulate the decibels coming in is minimized.
Yeah.
So, I get it. Yeah, just being able to control, like, what it's my office, let's say. If I had to
Yeah.
work, in a room with a bunch of other people talking on the phone or playing music or stuff, that would annoy the hell out of me. It would probably
Yeah.
make me less productive and less happy.
Yeah.
So, my philosophy about the studio concept has always been it's not right for everybody. It's right for a lot of people. It's not right for everyone. And as many conversations as I've had with people in the industry, I often just come right out and I say, moving into a studio right out of school is probably not the best idea. In fact, we used to not even take people right out of school.
Yeah.
And there's a hairdresser in Santa Monica years and years ago. I mean, probably 10 or 12 years ago now, named Mary. And she came to us and she's like, trust me, I've got tons of clients. And we're like, you just got out of school. This is,
Yeah.
go work at a normal salon and, learn more because, we know that you don't learn that much in beauty school. And she's like, you got to take a chance on me. And that was when social media was kind of coming around, and she had a pretty good following, like massive engagement already. Massive. I mean, maybe 50 comments on her posts, and they all seem like friends. And we're like, God, maybe she does have, a decent clientele. And so we took a chance on her, and she was very successful. Ended up growing her single studio to like a double or a triple, and has been very successful. And so we were like, well, okay, we call it the Mary rule, that,
Yeah.
we shouldn't assume that it's not the best environment for somebody coming out of school.
Yeah.
But I'll
Sure.
still completely agree with what you said, which is it's probably a very small minority of beauty profession or of newly licensed people
Yeah.
coming out of beauty school where a private studio is the best option for them. I
Yeah.
mean, we absolutely would prefer if somebody comes in to Salon Republic having had a lot of experience in, traditional open salons.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ask you that. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to realize with the industry, especially with how the rental salons are set up and then commission and then the hybrid of both of them. Like
Hmm.
it was the perfect answer, especially after the pandemic, like for people to actually, individualize, kind of,
Yeah.
seclude and do their specialties. Because specialty is where it always ends up. Like we worked in salons where everybody just did perms or haircuts and then color, or braids, or we had a salon in Pasadena with 30 chairs,
Okay.
and our salon was exactly like that. We had so many different specialists that came from everywhere, and it worked in the dynamic. But I mean, pre-pandemic, that was amazing. But after the pandemic, everybody was just scrambling to keep safe.
Yeah.
And they just went into these little bubbles of like, this is my space. We're not promoting the big salons anymore. We're just promoting ourselves, and it was good. And then Instagram came out, and then it did.
Hmm.
It was a whole movement. So I think
Hmm.
it's for the newbies. Assisting is still an amazing thing
Hmm.
to start
Yeah.
your career as foundational, input for your the next 30 years, you know what I mean? And
Totally.
then the checks and balance of it, then working in community, and then figuring out your specialty, and then
Your thing.
doing your thing,
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
known for it, and I've only done haircuts and pretty much that's it, and textured hair. My whole career was like 3 little things that I mastered, got my black belt in, and it's like, here we go, and everybody's always
Yeah.
been like, "Well, if you're gonna come into our salon, you're gonna do this, you have to do everything." I was like, "No, I'm not doing any of that. I've always
Yeah.
specialized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short
So,
haircuts, textured hair."
Yeah, I love how I often talk about the evolution of a hairdresser, and again, not everybody follows that path, but you just described it really well, and I think that does lead to the healthiest kind of career. I want to ask you about the assisting thing because of all the conversations I've had with beauty professionals over the 25 years, there's good experiences and there's bad experiences. And so talk to those young hairdressers who recognize that assisting is a really valuable thing, but they want to make sure they
Yeah.
do it right. So
Yeah, they have
what
to do it right.
happens when they go and they assist for it, they can't always pick and choose exactly who they assist for, but what should they be looking for in this mentor? And what should they what should they do if they find that the mentor that they're not getting what they should be getting? Maybe they get taken advantage of a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you actually can choose who you want to work for. I think that at this day and age and the availability that we have to see everyone's work, you can literally reach out to people specifically and say like, "Hey, I would love to assist you." Now, doesn't mean that that person is going to necessarily provide for you everything that you want, right? So like let's say if somebody reaches out to me, they're like, "Oh, I would love to assist you." Um well, what I'm gonna teach you is just color. I'm not gonna teach you haircuts,
Right.
right? So then to me, it's like the make sure that you work in a salon that has somebody else there that you can possibly learn haircuts from. But if you wanna work for one person for what they're known for, like by all means, and just focus on that. I also think that agreements are like a huge thing. I know that there's a lot of hairdressers out there that are not great leaders. They're real artists. And I think that
Yeah.
that's what's really hard in our industry. And people really need to understand that when you go into a place and you say, I want to assist, and then but I'm not getting what I need. Look, my opinion is unless a salon has a hardcore training system, you're probably going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
Paid education is like really where it's at this point. I think that going into a salon is really about watching, observing, getting business and professional experience. Okay. And if you're lucky, you have people that will take extra time to teach you because really what is happening is Nico and I stay another 3 hours after work or come in on a whole day off and teach you for nothing.
Yeah.
And
That's
with the possibility
exchange.
and with the possibility of like you not even actually working for us. So I think that there's this like really sort of funny thing that's happened between assistants and hairdressers in like the industry period. But paid education, if you're like, no, I need this, you need to pay for it at this point.
Yeah.
If you want
Mm,
to secure your learning. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
mhm,
But you gotta think with this with the bigger salons back in the day having their assisting programs, you were able to get exposed to
Yeah.
a variety. It's like a menu. What do I wanna actually do?
Yeah.
And then you can assist different people that specialize in different things, why the community is really like an amazing thing at first. You get a choice, you know what I mean? Some people go right into like just assisting one person that does color, and then their whole world is around color, like, again, but the assisting program is something that's essential for the creative person to kind of shift and balance where their strengths are,
mhm,
and again, what we've done is we've shifted. I mean, we've had assistants where it's like the assistants started taking over and then everything started, oh, they're not coming into work today. And then we're like codependent on it. And then it just turned into fuckery. You know what I mean? But what needed to happen was we shifted and said, okay, we need to work with the industry. So what we're doing now is instead of looking for a long term, because assisting is usually what,
2 years. It
two
used to
years,
be
right? Used to
year
be
and a
two
half,
years.
2 years.
Now we're like, okay, we're giving you an opportunity to train with us for 6 months and
Yeah.
then you're out.
Yeah.
We'll give you
yep,
our time in exchange for you working side by side with us, and whether you learn what we do behind the chair, what you're gonna be around is exposed to amazing clients, how to function with them, which is the most important part of doing hair. It's not even, oh, how good your haircuts are. That gets you a client, but to keep
mm,
a client, you have to know how to navigate and do a dance with them.
Yeah.
And
mm,
working with clients that we have, they're CEOs and they're directors of like big projects and like shamans. I mean, we have it all. Like literally you get to sit and see the variety of what the world has to offer you and who sits in your chair. That's the most
mm.
important part. My nephew
Oh
just
yeah.
got a and we trained him. We said, you only have 6 months. So you better learn what you can. And what he did was, his world, because he's younger, it's Dragon Ball Z and a lot of like animation, like so what we did hair wise, there was a big, gap between what we learned and what he was trying to do and perfect. But what he did learn was customer
Yeah.
service.
Mm,
And that was epic. It
Yes.
was how to run your salon from your color bar and keeping shit on the shelves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, making sure your station there's accountability on how it looked. So
Yeah.
those were the more important things, you know what I mean?
How,
That
how about
Yeah,
how about showing up on time? Like the
exactly, and
most
penalties.
basic things.
Yeah,
I had told
Yeah.
him, I had told him he showed up late once. I had a talk with him. He showed up late twice. And I was like, I know we're family, but I'm not playing with you. I said,
Yeah.
if you show up
This is
late,
professional.
yeah, I said, if you
yeah.
show up one more time, don't even come in. Don't even come in.
Don't call,
Yeah.
Don't nothing. I
Yeah.
said, "I love you, but this is not that
yeah,
place." And, he
Right.
was never late again. It's like
Yeah.
it's interesting 'cause, Nico went to go visit him at his little studio the other day, and Nico's like, "I'm so proud." He's just like little Mr. Chatty Cathy and the shyest, most quiet young man ever. And now he's like, you know, doing his thing, and it couldn't, he wouldn't have gotten there if he hadn't worked for us, and he did,
yeah.
and he told
Yeah.
us when he left, and he's, like, all emotional and teary-eyed, and he's like, "I've, like, come out of my shell so much, and, like, I really
He's like, "I'm
appreciate it."
ready, dude, I'm
Yeah.
ready."
Yeah.
We're like, "No,
It's
you're not,
amazing.
but okay.
We're like, "You're
Yeah.
not ready yet."
But
But,
okay."
you
Well,
know?
yeah, I mean, that's the checks and balances that Nico's mentioned a couple times. You learn what you have to do, and
Yeah,
you can't just piss off and do whatever you want to do if you want a successful career. It is the customer
Yeah.
service business. Okay, so you guys owned all these salons, and I mean, what was that generally like?
So the way it kinda came about was that, I started my career in Beverly Hills and West Hollywood, and Nico
what
was
salon?
I started at, Umberto's, which is actually
Hmm?
closing now.
I
Um,
know, sad.
yeah, yeah, and, Jonathan's Salon in West Hollywood, and Nico was always in Pasadena, right? He was always out east, and we never worked together. But what happened was Nico had so many clients on the West Side, and when I actually was at Warren Trachomey at the time. It was, like, my favorite salon. It was the best energy, it was the best people, my favorite experience
The
out of,
teams.
yeah, just great.
Because then you'd go to the hair show and your whole team would be with you, and you walk in like freaking titans and shit.
Yeah.
It was fun, yeah.
That was the last salon experience that I had a really good time in, and he closed. He was closing his salon, so I we had to go somewhere else. I went to Sally Hirschberger and was just devastated at the
Yeah,
culture, and I was like, "I
I've
don't think
heard.
I could do this anymore." I was like, "I
Yeah.
just this is so crazy to me." So, I was like I had such such a unique, clientele that I decided that's when I started at Salon Republic, and I got myself
Hmm.
a little studio, and I
Mhm.
said to Nico, "Let's just get a private studio. You could do all of your West Side clients out here," you know? Obviously, we had the Pasadena salon, and that's how that came to be, right?
Mm.
So then, we opened the Santa Monica location, and then we opened up the Beverly Hills location that we're at currently now,
Uh-huh.
um, and started to work together there. And Nico and I had decided to close our Pasadena salon after 15 years of having it, I think it was.
16. And then
Mm.
right before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so, we kind
Lucky.
of, it was like a double-edged sword, it was really hard to let it go, and at the same time, when all of that hit the fan, we were like, "Whoa," like, we're so
Thank God.
kind of,
Well,
like,
you know what?
lucky.
Like to our core, we're artists.
Yeah,
And when you open salons, it's all business. You know what I mean? And so what happened was I was taking my notoriety and like trying to deposit technique, like some kind of like, like into these hairdressers and then making sure the business was running at the same time. So she had actually let down her career for a second, came into the big salon and we were just running it. And then it was like, if your hairdressers aren't, if you spoil them too much, what happens is they take advantage of it and then they're not giving back to the business. And then, it's kind of a fuckery. I always say fuckery, you know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
what happened. But then so we thought about it and we were like, dude, we have sick careers. Why have the big salon if everybody's not, in on
yeah,
this and collaborating, as a team, why? You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna work my whole career just so that the young person coming out of school can get clients, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we decided, we're gonna, take all our shit back. And,
Yeah.
no one wanted to comply to like the being either rental or all commission.
Yeah. All the new IC laws.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So then
Yep.
Yeah.
we said, fuck it, let's just open the little studios and then do our thing and then maybe go online. So that's where
Mhm.
we are now. We're just basically we do our training now is only 6 months. We offer it to students, whoever can get to us. We train you for 6 months, you give us your life, and then we send you off. You know what I mean? And then it's the next one. We want to still be able to influence behind our chair. But at the same time,
Mhm.
we're also building a platform that's online. We're calling it DigiDo's, digital hairdos, and we're basically offering like training, like the basic stuff of like cocktailing products and working on textured hair, doing updos, doing your perfect salon blow dries, and or like flat ironing your flat iron game. So we can actually infuse that confidence first, then you can go into any salon where specialties or whatever
Yeah.
and have the confidence. The confidence is the most important thing working on clients to us.
Mhm.
Like I may not know how to do everything, but I can talk to a high level client and be able to sell anything that I can't do to the person that does it better and then actually incorporate what I do the best.
Yeah.
And then they always get the best.
Explain this digital offering. Is this pre-recorded videos that people could watch, or is this streamed? They stream you in the studio? What happens?
First and foremost, with this whole conversation that we've been having, the thing that Nico and I value the most is community, right? Why is like such a big deal? We're still married 17 years. Like we
Mhm.
value that human connection. I know. Okay.
Yeah.
And um
They're nuzzling, listeners. They're nuzzling.
and I think that there's nothing better than having like your people or your crew or your
We call it a
like-minded,
circle.
yeah, your like-minded,
Mhm.
friends. And so
Mhm.
we decided that we wanted to create a platform, and we'll have business, we'll have inspirational talks on there, and it'll be like a catalog, it's going to be a library. And we've already shot several videos, and we're all starting with basics, and it'll sort of unfold as we advance. But yeah, I mean, it's like, a full community live. It'll have, past recorded videos and then the teaching modules as well. So
So yeah, we
Wow.
we we definitely want it to be just informational and
it's all about confidence building. Like that is our bottom line. We are like, what do we want to give back? We want to give everybody back their confidence, because it's like all these YouTube videos that started coming out when Instagram came out, 20 years ago. It's like everything is so half-assed.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's imitated,
and
not
Yeah.
innovated. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's really important to be able to own what you bring to the table.
and
It's
love it.
almost like look at all this whole beauty business and for you to find your niche,
Yeah.
you killed it. Like it's something about that you just focus on. It's just focus attention.
Yes.
And so what we want to do again, it's like we want to feature everybody, like
Yeah.
the education behind it and like the specialties, like what it looks like backstage with runway shows. We want interviews. We want to do all those things. It's almost like a giant podcast that you can actually buy videos
Yeah.
Mm.
and possibly eventually, we don't know. We'll see how it opens up. But DigiDo's was the what we call it, digital hairdos, and like
Yeah.
basically you just show your whole world of what the hair industry looks like backstage on a high level,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, I love it.
inspirational level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're also the founders of a new product brand.
Mhm.
So mírame means look at me.
In Spanish.
In Spanish. And it really was sort of like an ode to this culture that we all live in, that everyone is
In our
so,
phone and
yeah,
selfies.
self-obsessed. And look at me. And back to the point of why we created DigiDo's was to build confidence, because everybody wants to be seen, and we really want to give that message in a healthy way. Um, Nico and I are major, you know, um, like everything is about love, right? Like everything bases from love. And so no, and it's true. Like we really, really want to infuse that into our whole message. And so Mírame came up during the pandemic. Obviously, we had time. we knew we were doing a major shift in our career, and Nico and I really wanted to have something that we could be like our base, right? So we created this product. It's for both textured hair.
Well, wait, let's give some history. I have to break down the history. So since we've both done a runway,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in a runway show, the way the dynamic works is you get 27 models coming from all these different runways, and it's like 30 minutes you have to get down.
Yeah,
So what we did during the our fashion week days is we had 12 products that did everything.
everything.
It
Yeah,
wasn't really brand. I mean, it wasn't about the brands. It was about
ingredients.
the ingredients. So during backstage, we would call it cocktailing. We'd cocktail the shit out of all the products that we're doing here, straight, big, frizzy, like whatever it was, the look. And we had to have these 12 products that you can intermix to make, you know, whatever
The
creation
texture.
you were gonna,
Yeah.
or whatever texture you were gonna do. So since we specialized in textured hair during the pandemic, everything shut down. We're like, what do we do? And so what we did was we took 4 out of the 12 products and we said, let's go back to the old school. Like everybody's intermixing now with the Black Lives Matter movement. They've always been mixing, but now curly hair is the thing. Like we have
Mm.
something for textured hair, and we wanted,
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at your hair.
yeah, we
Yeah.
we want to actually give you a few bottles so you can try it. It's amazing.
Sure,
You know what
love
I
to.
mean?
Yeah.
So what we did was we took the mindset of how can we cover not a do it all product, but an amazing base, because that's what we were trained in doing hair. Can it create volume? Can it, if you put heat to it, can it smooth? But a fullness volume that's straight is insane. And then with all the texture coming, with all the intermixing of the cultures, can it like literally define curly hair? So if we can actually get it to do those 4 things: condition, straight, textured hair, and actually some volume, we're
Mhm.
gold. So
Yeah.
during the pandemic, we were working furiously with a few chemists, and the smells of this, of that, and we came up with the old school. Remember back in the day, the mousses that they came out with, girls used to scrunch their hair
Mhm.
and they
Yeah.
get the little wave. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Right.
it. That's
They
it
would
right there.
curl the thing around their finger. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then now with all the textured hair, they use foam to actually straighten or to wrap the hair or whatever to get it straight. So we took both formulas and we created a foam mousse. And the company's called Minute Maid, but we call it both because it actually does amazing defining texture, and it also does amazing when you flat iron it. It's freaking dope.
Yeah.
You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
So we don't leave it at that. It's just the foundation. Then if you want it to last, you can use your gels, you can use your serums, you can do
Mm.
leave-ins if you have like color in your hair, whatever. But it's such a great base, especially coming from our cocktailing background.
Mhm.
Like it does so many things.
Yeah.
Wow. So cool. You guys are very busy.
You have no idea. I mean, you do have an idea. You
But
actually
but
do
think
have an
about
idea.
this. Would you be rather, like,
Maybe.
again, to your point with the specialized studios, would you rather be busy managing 30 people or managing all the 30 things in your career? And again, this is where
Yeah,
you
I get
start
it.
making
I mean,
decisions.
yeah.
This is where you
Yeah.
start
I mean,
specializing.
owning a salon is managing people. It's managing a business. It's like,
Yeah.
it's all the godforsaken things that I do. It's like managing landlords. You
Yeah.
know, managing landlords is one of the worst things that anyone could want
Yeah.
to do in their lives. We were constantly fighting with our landlords.
Yeah.
Like they're professional fighters.
They
And
are.
yeah, they are. Landlords are professional fighters. And so when you get a 5-year lease on a space for a storefront, or in our case, 15 or 20-year lease, you're basically signing up for a 5-year battle with a professional,
Yeah.
with attorneys who are there to try to take your money. And so
Totally.
it's thankless. Anyway, so yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so any hair horror stories, just complete disasters? I know both of you have it.
So my worst hair story was backstage on a music video. And I brought her, so it's even worse because she actually witnessed it, you know?
You want to
So I
tell us
had a
the hair
client.
video?
Yeah, it was a music video.
I'm like, you're gonna
Which one?
I'm not gonna say her
no,
name.
don't say the name.
I don't want
Okay.
to say her name. But yeah, so I walked in and she had a medical issue. Something physical happened to her, and we're about to shoot. So I'm in the trailers, and she uses a lot of hair extensions and everything. And it was like more hair, more hair, more hair, more hair, more hair, because she was trying to cover up what was the issue. Is like,
Mm.
something on her face, but it wasn't more makeup. It was more hair, more hair. And I had like 500 pounds of hair on her head, and it just wasn't enough. So literally everybody on set, because it was a music video, they're saying, "Where is the talent?" And basically she kept blaming it on me.
And this was like 16 hours later. I'm not even making this up.
Oh
Literally
no,
16
come on.
hours of
Wait,
16
hair,
hours.
straight
16
up
hours
hair.
straight of trying to get the hair
This
right?
is this is back in the day when
Music
music videos
videos
would
were
go
at the
like
highest. Yeah.
22 hours, 24, 26 hours, like
Yeah.
Wow.
3, 4 days in a row, you
Amazing.
know? So
So the first take, we walk out and, she says, "Hey, everybody, I just want to let you know it wasn't me. I hate my hair." To the whole set.
Jesus.
And I
And were
was
you
like,
there
"Oh
or were
my
you
God."
still in the trailer?
No, I was right there.
Okay.
And I'm trying
Oh
to touch her up.
God.
While I'm touching her up, going like this. And she's telling her, "Sorry, everybody. I just can't stand my hair."
But hold on. But I doubt anyone on the set, they probably knew her well enough to know that it wasn't your fault,
Yeah.
that you weren't really the cause of it, right? I mean,
Well, for
she's different.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean, working with celebrities, definitely you have
has its
a mind.
challenges.
It has its challenges. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's always them, but
Yeah.
definitely there was a challenge with this particular person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for again, every time I would come out, she would announce it. Wasn't me, it was my hairdresser. You know what I mean? And so
Jesus.
I told her in front of everybody, I'm gonna sit this out. I'm professional. I want to see where this goes. Like, you don't have to pay me, because at the time I was getting paid stupid, insane money for a music video. And I was like, let's see where it goes. And so it launched literally like 2 days later when it was going like epic numbers, calls me and says, "Hey, I'm so sorry. No, no, no. I was just feeling a little insecure." I was like, "Bitch, bye." You know what I mean? But that was my most epic firing, being able to fire a celebrity.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
yeah.
That's I like that hair horror story because it's different than all the others. It really is like a personality dynamic.
Yeah.
It's a personality dynamic issue. And of course, everybody in the salon business has personality conflicts with clients sometimes.
Mhm.
All right, Tanya, do you have one?
Bring it, baby. Bring
I
it.
do. So I had a client that went away on a movie and had her hair straightened, chemically straightened.
Oh,
And I didn't know because before she left, I had done one. And so whoever was on set convinced her that she needed another one. And when she
another
got back,
chemical straightener.
Yeah.
Okay, you had already done
yeah.
one,
And when she
and
got
somebody
back,
who doesn't know
she
what they're
didn't tell
talking about
me.
said, do another one.
No,
No. Do some blonde.
no. So when she
Yeah.
came back after her movie, she said, we were going to do highlights. It was time to do highlights. And had no idea that this had happened. Didn't even think to ask. Like she'd been my client for, over 10 years at that point, and nobody had ever touched her hair but me chemically. And I started doing highlights and it like started all falling out. And it still makes me so sad because I was just like, what what's happening? Like what the fuck is happening?
Right.
And yeah, talk about
This
another
was
moment where yeah,
this was hair that you knew so well, right? All
yeah,
those 10 years.
yeah.
And but something happened out there that
Something
you didn't know
happened.
about, and she didn't
Yeah.
think to tell you. Do you think she was nervous to say something, or she just kind of
No,
slipped her
no,
mind?
she trusted that hairdresser and just like whatever they said was gonna be fine, and she didn't understand the repercussions of it, you know?
Mhm.
And it was just one of those things where I didn't even think to ask, you know?
Yeah.
But I will say that I am such a stickler now for even new clients. I mean, I am so anti strand testing, like, I'm so above that, right? Like, I know what I'm doing. I won't even take new clients on anymore without doing strand tests because I was
Yeah.
so traumatized by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so the conclusion of that couple hour period of time, was it a pixie, or were you able to rinse it out in time?
No.
No.
No, it was like a lot of curling with your iron and
Yeah.
hiding all the pieces that literally are broken and long.
Got it. Wow.
It was so
Pain
bad.
and
So
suffering.
bad. It was so bad. It was really, really devastating for me, for sure. I think I came home and
Yeah.
cried, actually. Yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
Did you do it in
Did
the
it hurt
studio?
your relationship with her?
No, ironically, because she loves me so much and she knows my character and how I am. I think she couldn't even bear to make me uncomfortable about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, those are good ones. Those are really good ones. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. This has been an awesome conversation. I want to make
Yeah.
sure the listeners know where to find all your stuff. Do you have Tanya uh, Abriol, right? I said it right.
Yeah. Tanya
Uh,
Abriol.
you're you're just Tanya Abriol on Instagram,
Yeah.
and Neeko Neeko backstage underscore, and
Yeah.
then the Lab Lounge is the name of your studio, and then Mirame. Does that have a
Yeah,
handle?
it's at Mirame Pro.
At
Like, look at me
Mirame
pro.
Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you do have a handle yet?
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's at
It's at,
Digi, and then capital DOOZ.
yeah. DigiJuice has its own Instagram too.
Yeah.
All right. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
And any last words for the community?
I
You know
think go ahead, babe.
Go ahead.
I think that on our next one, we're going to interview you, Eric.
Yes.
Oh, no. You're a
Yes.
turn the table kind of person.
I love it. Well, because I love to learn from people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
I'm an open book.
Okay.
our whole clientele are, like, impactors.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
love
they
learning
they
from
they
everybody.
actually are making, history. And, like, to our point, like, we love interacting with people that have impacted and shifted the industry or
Yeah.
whatever industry they're in. So
Yep.
we'd love to
I
talk to
love
you
it.
about that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd
So
love to.
closing thoughts. Okay. Closing thoughts.
Love Dang,
Go.
dude.
Cheeks. Oh my
Go.
God. You guys are so married.
Go.
Dang, dude.
Go.
Dude, I tell this to everybody, do what you love and love what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
remember, everything that was designed for me was really for us.
Yeah. That's
Education,
beautiful.
lifestyle, money, whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my big thing in life has always been if I didn't know myself well enough, I would have gotten lost a long time ago. So I always encourage people to really, really know yourselves so that you never feel like you're being eaten alive by insecurities.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
key. It's key to
Yeah.
everything.
Confidence
Well,
is
Tanya and Nick,
everything.
what's
Yeah.
that?
It's confidence is everything.
Confidence is everything. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't take too long for you to gain it. So that's one
For
of the
sure.
nicer things about older people is they tend to be more confident than younger people. And I as a father of a 13, 14-year-old, I try to get them I try to help them find their confidence as early as possible because I think
Yeah.
it's that important.
It
Well,
is.
Nico and Tanya, you guys are the best. Thank you so much and for this conversation. And listeners, look at the show notes for all the links and everything. And I'll see you guys in the salon.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.